Hello everybody and welcome back to Analog Vernacular. Today we're going to be playing some more Final Fantasy XVI, and we're going to be finishing up 2 more side quests, an Inconvenient Truth, a Litany of Errors, and then we are going to do the Jill side quest. From there, we go on to main story, so we're almost there. Okay, journey to the Bodbach Conservatory. Let's see, that's this one. Vivian writes to Clive asking him to locate a copy of From a Distance, the tome that inspired her to become a scholar. Is that the right one? Yes. Make for Garnick.
The entire village looks abandoned. Now, which house would a bookworm live in?
A Complete Botany of Banes. I'm not even going to try and say that name. Or Tale of Wyvern. White of flower and black of root, the latter of which gives out an inky gall when cut or crushed. The tribesmen of Northern Storm prick their skin with oaken needles, soaked in such, drawing curious patterns about their arms and legs in honor of their heathen gods. The gall is passing toxicate, that a single drop taken by mouth may result in cramps most painful for 5 days and 5 nights. Or if applied to a wound, certain death. Should a slip of the needle end a young warrior's life, it is said that his skin print failed to find favor among the heavens. Whoops. Okay. The folklorist fabulary, the Moogle. No spirit or sprite appears more often in Valisthean folktales than the humble Moogle. They're kind of being treated like fairies in our real-world folktale. Though they are occasionally painted as mischievous souls akin to pixies or imps, most stories depict them as clumsy, yet congenial spirits who delight in helping humankind with their daily labors. They are said to have sweet tooths, leading to the common superstition that one must not leave cakes or other sweetmeats uncovered overnight, lest not remain but crumbs come morning. In appearance, they are described as being covered head or toe in soft white fur, excepting the small dark wings by which they are somehow able to take flight, and the brightly colored pom-poms that protrude from the tops of their heads. And yet there is one detail regarding the Moogle that most find more remarkable than even the orb that tops its brow. The fact that the creatures actually exist. Preposterous, I hear you cry. Everybody knows that Moogles are the stuff of legend. I quite agree, but every legend has its basis in truth. And in the case of the Moogle, the fact may not be so dissimilar to the fiction. Ancient bestiaries list the white mole whose feet do not touch the ground among the beasts of the realm, and the illustrations beside the name, why, it is none other than the Moogle. Of course, it is true that the creatures are not known to still survive in the Twins. In the modern day, perhaps their miniature wings carried them to other climes. Perhaps they were hunted to extinction, or perhaps, just perhaps, they do still live among us, hidden away from human view.
His interests were certainly varied.
From a Distance, The Fall of the Bears. Ooh, this sounds like it might be it. The emergence of the first magic adepts was widely heralded as a gift from the gods. Indeed, the title with which those with the gift came to be commonly known is most likely a contraction of bearer of the heavenly blessing, the wording used by the tribunes of the time. So yeah, it was seen as a good thing for a while. Then when it became apparent that the magic was very, very powerful and deadly, they probably enslaved them afterwards. Those born with the blessing were lauded as living crystals and granted high office and plentiful reward for their status as chosen ones. Over the years, this reverence for their kind would become a full-fledged religion, led by the bears themselves, a development that would prove fateful. The divers nations of the time were unanimous of their disapproval of the founding of the church, while the authorities had for years welcomed bears into positions of power in their own structures of state. They were mistrusting of an organization led by bears for bears. Efforts were immediately made to chasten the church and its followers, banning members from holding office, evicting adherents from their homes, and breaking up meeting by force. The church responded by forming a volunteer army to resist this persecution, and yet it continued, creating a cycle of ever-increasing bloodshed and rancor, and a growing rift between those born with the blessing and those without. What began with beatings and street clashes would eventually spill over into an all-out war that consumed the greater part of the twins for nigh a generation and decimated the population of men and bears both, the deluge of blood that stained the land crimson and left an even more lasting mark upon their minds of the Valisthean people. After the bears' last resistance was crushed, the nations of Valisthea came together to sign a continental accord that initiated the system of slavery that persists across the realms to this day. Its well-known phrase, bears are other than human, has its roots in the bitter war of the years before, being the unblessed's only excuse for their calamitous refusal to allow the blessed to decide their own destinies. So yeah, this is basically everything that we've surmised in the game so far. Now, the one thing that I was questioning kind of early on in the playthrough was how in the world would bears become enslaved when they have so much power over a regular person who doesn't have magic? And I think that comes in the bear's curse. The more you use it, the more sick you get, and obviously the people fighting the most would die the quickest. And I think that's the only reason that they were able to be enslaved, is because of this downside to overusing magic, where you would get sick and eventually turn to stone early in your life. So the people who were probably fighting the most were generally probably dying earlier, and therefore the people who were more passive were surviving longer. It's like the opposite. It's the opposite of survival of fittest, in a way. Like in a very, very strange way. It's like the exact opposite of that. Because the people that were more passive were more likely to survive. So I guess it isn't. Everything is always survival of the fittest. So in this case, the fittest would be the people who didn't overuse their power and kill themselves early. So in a way, it is still survival of the fittest. But you take my point. It's opposite of what you would expect it to be.
This is it. But if what it says is true, I need to get this back to the hideaway.
Royal Intelligent Training Report. In the wake of the tragic fire at Caer Norvent in 873V, and the subsequent depletion of our most highly practiced intelligencers, all mainland strongholds were instructed to redouble training in clandestine maneuvers, improvise weaponry and assassination techniques, and dispatch promising volunteers to Stonehere for inspection. This report details progress made by the stronghold at Garnick in reinvigorating Waloed's ranks of esteemed intelligencers. Okay, here comes the fight.
Leaving so soon, stranger? We've been watching you.
This is probably one of
from
the
a
intelligencers.
distance, so to speak.
Subtle. I know who you are.
Then we need not waste time on introductions. Hand me the book. Leave it in our care and return to your life.
Not everybody's a Kashik.
Okay. Do you mean to burn it or bury it?
That is not my decision to make. But by one means or another, its contents shall be removed from the common record.
Then I'll have to politely refuse. I won't let you erase our history.
Then we find ourselves at an impasse. Very well. The book can just as easily be pried from your dead hand.
Let's see, shall we?
Let's see indeed. You hear that guy? What a death throw. All right.
Impressive. But we have other means. We shall claim the book yet.
Why do you want it so badly anyway?
It lays out in no uncertain terms the vanity and avarice of mankind. It tells the shameful history of the persecution and oppression of a gifted few by a giftless many. Would you say that this interpretation was correct?
I don't know.
You don't know. Your sword may be sharp, but your wits are dull.
No need to be rude, bro.
Answer for you. There is no correct interpretation of history. That a series of events took place may be proved beyond a doubt. But there can be no single, immutable explanation as to why they came to pass. It is a question of numbers and of belief. If enough people believe that a set of events occurred for a reason, that belief becomes the truth.
So you're trying to control the truth?
We are trying to protect people from themselves, from knowledge that would bring them naught but pain. That is all. You may keep the book, for now. The world is small. We shall meet again. Until then.
Wait! Damn it. Let's get this back to Vivian. Perhaps she can explain what that was all about.
Okay, next we go up to the church. So this one is... Okay, this one's Litany of Errors. Harriman, a recent recruit to the Cursebreaker, seeks to Ash. No matter what the assignment might be, Clive refuses on the grounds that it is simply too dangerous, but offers to go in Herman's stead. So yeah, he was talking about what they did to the kids here at the conservatory, and he wanted a ledger of their names because there was a record that was kept, so that he can remember them. So let's go and find that ledger. Clive, finally
This must be the
bested
orphanage.
by a rock.
Hopefully the registry's still here.
Bodbog Conservatory, Writ of Incorporation. The Kingdom of Waloed hereby incorporates this institution, wherein juvenile bearers are to be granted the opportunity to give themselves in service to the state as soldiers. Trainees succumbing to the crystal's curse or otherwise perishing are to be disposed of with all haste. The graveyard is strictly reserved for the uncursed. Bare disposal within its bounds is punishable by death.
Disposed of.
Conditioning schedule. Today's exercises will consist of the press yard, 20 sandbags for such duration as instructors shall dictate. The furnace, burn intensity to be gradually increased. Gross. Live combat, 1 to 3 hellhounds depending on performance.
Conditioning.
It's messed up.
This is nothing short of torture. Herman wasn't exaggerating. It's a wonder he survived this place. I need to find that registry.
I have recently learned that my own daughter was among the children turned to stone by the brutal training I subjected them to. I had not so much as thought of her since handing her over to the authorities as a babe, but inquiries with the military confirmed it. It was her. I had been torturing my own flesh and blood, and now I see her everywhere. Today, one of the children smiled at me in the hope of receiving a few scraps from my table. It was her smile, the smile she inherited from her mother, the mother I killed for giving birth to a bear. Man, you guys suck. Fuck you, I don't feel bad for you. Their ghosts have all come back to haunt me. My daughters, my wife's, all of them, all those children, so many have died at my hand. I can bear the guilt no longer, and so I have decided tomorrow I too must die. It will be the last order I give those poor wretches, the last torment I subject them to. I will command them to tear me limb from limb and inter my accursed corpse beneath the white tree whose crooked hands reach to the sky in supplication. And beside me, my shame, my curse, the record of all their names, all those who I have wronged. Yeah, sure, you know, in your last moment, scar them a little bit more, you fucking monster.
This reads like a suicide note. Did the director go through with his plan? There's only one way to find out.
It's like, even if they enjoyed it, the bears killing him, like, he still inflicted, like, yeah, it's just, it's fucking messed up. Okay, so it's gonna be that tree.
A forked white tree. This must be the place. Could he really be buried here? There's something hidden among the roots. Let's see.
You still turn them into victims like one last time by making them do that.
This must be the registry.
Registry of Bearer Losses. 10 years old. 9 years old. 12, 10. Emaciation. We've got lithification. Succumb to conditioning. Disciplined for flight. 11 and 12 years old. Conditioning, lithification, emaciation, 9, 10, 12, 11.
So many names.
And on it goes.
This place was a slaughterhouse. And where is the architect of all this misery? It was only a matter of time, I suppose. This place is cursed.
Alright. Comboed to hell and back.
I'm done here. Let's get the registry back to Herman.
Alright. We wanted Jill's to be the last one. Let's do it. Let's turn these in, and then we'll talk to Joshua about Jill. Now, for all I know, there could be another set of quests later on in the game, but... Because this might not be the last main story mission. There might be like 2 more. Well, I'm guessing that they're either going... It's most likely the last one, but if it's not, then there's one more after. In my opinion.
Vivian.
We'll see.
I found it. The book you lost.
No mention is made as to the name of the author, whether that is because the title page has been lost to time or because the tome was published anonymously. Anonymously, it is impossible to say. Ooh. I need to get some water or something. My mouth is dry.
You found it. Thank you, Clive. Even though I asked this of you, I was not entirely sure it would be possible. I feared the executors had seized every copy.
I met with one of these executors, and I convinced him to let me keep it. He told me something. That the truth is just a matter of collective belief. And that if enough people believe a lie, that lie becomes the truth.
It does. But it also means that the truth is not immutable. That it can be changed. Provided that those who wish to change it can convince enough people that their perspective is the correct one. As the sad history of the bearers proves.
You said that the book inspired you to become a scholar.
It did. Or its author, rather. She was a heretic, you see. A firebrand and a dissenter. A gallows stood ready for her in every corner of the realm. And by shunning society, or perhaps being shunned by it, she stumbled upon a truth so potent that an entire realm trembled at the prospect of its utterance. I, too, have always felt somehow set apart from the world of men. A stranger to my own species. She taught me that my solitude was not a curse, but a gift. And that, though my journey to the truth might be a lonely one, what I found at my destination would be more than worth the cost.
Do you still feel that way? That you're not one of us?
Honestly, I'm not entirely sure anymore. Since coming to the hideaway, I find my thinking somewhat clouded. Perhaps the result of studying mankind from a rather closer perspective than I had intended. But the more I study, the more I find value in this perspective. In looking not from the outside, but from within. So if you'll permit me, I'd like to continue my work here. Remember, Clive, when enough people believe, belief begets truth. Give the men and women of this benighted world the gift of truth. Make them believe in you, as I do.
I'll try, Vivian. I'll try.
Quest complete. Scholar's bonnet, displayed in Clive's chambers. Really? You have a new hunt now? Man, you stringing me along. Okay, A rank, the Wailing Banshee. Garnick. Okay, so we needed to finish that quest first. Okay, we'll go back to Garnick. I already said we need to do Jill's stuff last, so just feels right. Feels right to cap it off with Jill's quest.
I hear that you traveled to Ash, Sid. Did you by any chance recover the names of my fallen friends?
I did. Yes.
Bearer Registry.
If I may? The Bearer Registry. The director was a brutal man. He got no worse than he deserved.
The registry was all I found beneath the tree. There was no sign of a body. Or any record of what happened to the children after the orphanage closed.
I pray that at least some of them survived. All their names are here. The ones we lost. My friends. My light in those dark times. I can still remember their faces, like it was yesterday. Children who were taken from their bunks in the morning, never to return. No explanation ever offered.
They'd be happy to know that you survived, Herman.
But why did I make it out alive, when so many others died in that awful place?
It's not your fault. And blaming yourself won't bring them back. Honor their memory. See that their names live on. That way, at least. They're never truly gone.
Thank you. Sid, I'm going to write a book. An account of the horrors of Badbach, and the spirit of those its custodians sought to crush. All of Valisthea will know of our suffering, and in the name of those I lost, I will not let it happen again.
Neither will I.
These records would have been buried for all eternity, were it not for you. Thank you.
Ooh, man, we're getting close to a level up. Getting very, very close to a level up. Wait, is there a new quest now, too? Of course there is. They won't stop. Oh my god, why in this part of the game? Like, feels like there's so many more quests right now than normal. I'm trying to get to the end game, guys. Alright, let's go pick up this new quest. We're gonna do this new hunt. Like, this game is awesome. I do feel like it does have some pacing issues. I understand why those pacing issues exist, just because of the structure of the game and the way they do the main story quests and whatnot, but it does have pacing issues. But if you think I'm letting any of these side quests hang, I'm not. Absolutely not. We're doing it all. Holy shit, so many. The Wages of Fate. Do you remember what you told me the night at Phoenix Gate? That while the fate of Rosaria sits on my shoulders, the fate of its dominance sits upon yours. But are we not both dominants of fire? Does not the flame of our forebears burn both our hearts? Should I not protect you as you have protected me? You've chosen to be my shield. Now let me choose to be yours. Is this not what our father wanted? What Sid wanted? To cast aside fate and forge our own paths? Grant me this, Clive. Let me be your strength, Joshua. What? You didn't think I was just saying that stuff about hiding my engine, did you? Wouldn't you know I've already a fine spot picked out and everything? But if you're going to go on this grand adventure, you'll need to be quick about your business with that ruddy god of yours. Take too long and somebody more clever might beat you to the prize. I suppose in that case I could bear you on my lesser inventions. Bear you one of my lesser inventions. There we go. Okay. Goddess knows I've countless. Mid. That which conquers all. Here, not long removed from when last you placed yourself between us and peril, I sit and pen yet another letter in which I try and find the words to somehow express the gratitude of an entire town. Still, something feels different about our latest triumph. Where in the past we leaned ever so heavily upon your good graces, this time we found strength elsewhere, in ourselves. Our hardship has shown us that which should have been apparent all along. We are not as different as we want to believe. Does a peasant love his homeland any less than a noble? Does a bearer love his family any less than another man does his own? It is this love that has united us and given us true strength. Should every thrall, Akashic, bandit, and brigand in the realm come charging our gates, we will not fret, we will not falter, we will fight, and we will win. Isabel. The Tri-Unity. Oh my gosh. Of course our uncle would come up with a stupid nomiker. Is that the word for it? Doesn't matter. Moniker. That's what I'm trying to say. Nomiker. Moniker. Tri-Unity. Okay. Bringing together 3 men from differing backgrounds was not to be without some difficulty. However, come together we did for a better Valisthea. The Tri-Unity has but a first step. A longer, more bitter journey awaits us all. One that will almost certainly end in hardship, yet what matters most is not the destination, but what we can learn from one another. While on the road there, you have paved the road for us with your courage, Clive. Now we must have the courage to walk it, your loving uncle. A new day. I am not so foolish to believe that a single shaming at the hands of the town urchins can dispel a lifetime of hatred built up in one's heart, just as a pot cannot be made clean by reminding it of its grime. It takes effort, persistence, and more often than not, a stiff brush and bucket of lye. But more than that, it takes time. Fortunately, your courage and leadership has granted us just that. We must now decide whether to embrace or to waste it. A wise man once said that night is always darkest before dawn. It is a good thing that I can count one who burns so bright amongst my friends, Lubor. A hideaway welcome. Edda seems fond of the silver bow we gave her. So much so, she's been taking to setting it atop her belly as she rests. To hear her tell it, the rascal kicks something fierce when she does too. Sounds like we've another fighter on our hands, and none too soon. I can hardly wait to teach our newest little cursebreaker everything I know. Though I suppose we can all celebrate first. No need to get ahead of ourselves now. Gav. A note of thanks. My Lord Marquess, I write to thank you for the kind consideration you have shown for those whose names were written within the pages of the Book of Martyrs. I know that it would move them deeply to know that the first shield of the Phoenix laments their passing, though each and every member of our order stands ready to sacrifice their lives in service of the Phoenix. I do not doubt that those who are taken before their time go with regret for the long years of duty left undone. That they should live on in the memory of a proud son of House Rosfield, such as yourself, shall surely go some way to soothing their sorrows. May the Phoenix's flame burn ever in your heart. Cyril, bearer of the burning quill. Making amends. Harpocrates, okay. Master Clive, I am aware there are matters of much greater importance with which demands your attention. But should you find yourself a moment, I bid you visit me in the shelves, that I might ask a single favor concerning His Highness, Prince Dion. Harpocrates.
It's usually me making demands of Harpocrates. I wonder what this is about.
Alright, we're running out of slots.
Lordsman Harpocrates, I received your note.
Ah, yes. I expect you're wondering what this is all about.
You spoke of making amends with Dion, but I can't imagine what for.
Then I should begin by telling you that I was once his tutor. This was some years ago, of course, before I joined Sid in his hideaway. At that time, I was counted among the foremost scholars of Oriflamme, and was accordingly invited to the palace to supervise the young prince's education, all to ensure that the future emperor had a firm grounding in, well, everything an emperor should. History, religion, commerce, government. Alas, our time together was cut short when Dion left to join the Dragoons, his studies no longer being deemed necessary. I had not expected to meet with him again, least of all here.
Have you spoken with him?
No, I have yet to find the right moment. His Highness always seems so preoccupied, especially when alone. I would not wish to disturb his ruminations with idle words of greeting. Not when I know he dwells upon the evil Ultima had him commit in the Dominion.
The guilt weighs heavily on him, I know. But as you say, that was Ultima's doing. Surely you can't blame yourself.
When I first met him, it was not guilt, but his people's expectations that weighed heavily upon him. And I did nothing to ease that burden. He bore it alone, until the day he could not bear it any longer. It is one of my greatest regrets that I only ever offered him my wisdom, when what he truly needed was friendship. The blame for Dion's transgressions lies not only on his shoulders, but on mine.
I see. I'm ready to help you in any way that I can.
Then I beg that you bring me a wild wyvern tail. Apothecaries across the ages agree that even to glimpse such a flower is to be granted inner solace. Fabulists and fraudsters all, of course. But there is oft a seed of truth to be found where even the most outlandish opinions align.
Well, it can't hurt to try. Where can I find this flower? And how will I know it?
You have seen cultivated wyvern tails before, I trust. The lily-white blossoms from whose roots the poisonous ink for the brand is distilled. Well, those which grow in the wild differ only in their purple hue. The harsher the environment in which they are raised, the deeper the color. There is a waterfall in Rickmal's roost across the strait, where the flowers once grew in abundance. Whether they still survive there, I know not. But try as I might, I can find no likelier location.
It's all right. I'll find you a wyvern tail one way or another.
Thank you, Clive. And please, be safe.
Okay. Where am I going? Yeah. This is probably the fastest way to it. Hello? Oh, there we are.
Come on. This won't be easy. Seems this place has been flooded twice over. Purple flowers blooming next to a waterfall. Shouldn't be too hard to find.
we got the shit down, man.
Here they are. Might as well pick enough for a bunch, I suppose.
Okay, hunt right there.
Be safe.
Oh, Gizmaluke. Okay.
Harmon's madness lives on.
Awaken winds! Let's try.
Oh, we lost it. Can't see. Stupid camera. Clear the hunt board. We're done. The hunts are done. Ooh, so close to that level up.
Rest in peace.
Okay. Very cool. Finally done with the hunts. We did every single one of them. So damn, man, we're practically 100%ing everything except for the time trials. So, once again, time trials are like my least favorite thing in all of gaming. I hate them with a fiery passion, so they just stress me out. They're not fun. Some people are going to disagree, and I'm happy you like them. I do not.
Oarsman, I found the flowers you were looking for.
You did?
I think I did.
You did indeed. My dear boy, thank you.
You wanted to make Dion a gift of one, did you not? Shall I invite him to join us?
Oh, I don't...
It's no trouble. I'll go and fetch him.
Hey, Dion. Harpocrates. Now, let's go.
Your Highness, would you do me the honor of accompanying me?
Now. It is time, then.
No, only to the shelves. Our lawsman has something he'd like to give you.
Master Harpocrates. No. I dare not show my face before him. Not after everything I have done. I have taken countless innocent lives. And ruined countless more. All because I was weak. I have sworn to atone for my crimes or die in the attempt. But were I to meet with him again, and see in his eyes what I have become, I fear that my resolve might falter.
Then that is all the more reason to do it. Test your resolve. Prove to yourself, and to him, how strong it truly is.
You are right. I must, at the very least, offer him my gratitude. Very well, then. Take me to him.
Follow me.
All things considered, Clive went through a similar thing at Phoenix Gate. His body toll was probably a little bit lower, though. But friendly fire was involved.
Even now, I hesitate to approach him. What must he think of me?
You'd be surprised.
Meet your new dad. Sorry,
Master
don't
Harpocrates,
want to ruin the moment.
pray. Accept my apologies for leaving your tutelage before my studies were complete. Your lessons opened my mind to a world quite unlike the one I had imagined from within the gilded confines of the palace. And I shall be forever grateful for the efforts you made to enlighten me.
Lift up your head, Your Highness. The deeds of youth require no apology. That you took the time to visit me says much about the man you have become. Now, there is something I would like to show you.
Is that a wyvern tail? The color is unfamiliar to me.
Because it is unique to those found in the wild. Something in the harsh environments in which they grow lends them this striking hue. Their roots are indistinguishable from those of their hothouse cousins, but once they bloom, the difference is immediately apparent. In this flower, I see you, Your Highness. Its roots were the roots of a wyvern tail, with all that implies. But they do not define it, just as yours do not define you. I want you to have it, that it might remind you of this truth.
Master Harpocrates, I would ask of you a service. Keep your gift until I have fulfilled my duty to the realm, for only then shall I be deserving of it.
As you wish, Your Highness. I shall await your return.
Our roots do not define us. No wonder my stepmother didn't like him. For reuniting me with memories I had thought long lost. I shall not forget this.
Brother from another mother. Yeah, our mom's a piece of work. Damn.
Thank you, Clive. Were it not for you, I fear I might never have found the right moment to speak with him. Not to mention the wyvern tales. I shall plant their seeds, that I might not disappoint His Highness upon his return.
I hope the soil in the hideaway is to their liking.
Why, these flowers bloomed in the bleak, black wastes of Waloed. I'm sure Nigel's yard will suit them to a T. When it comes to expressing one's gratitude, I find that words are seldom sufficient. Here.
What's this?
A stolas quill. Or more precisely, my stolas quill. 'Tis said that an owl's feathers are steeped in the wishes it hears over its long lifetime. All those words just waiting to pour out onto the page. So consider this my wish for you. That one day you may put down your sword and pick up that pen.
Well, when that day comes, I'll certainly have a lot to write about. Thank you, Harpocrates. It shall have pride of place in my chamber.
There it is. 49. The Stolas Quill and Bahamut's Mercy. Okay. I'm gonna go and talk at the hunt board real quick, just to see if, our little Kupo friend has anything to say about us finishing the hunts. It's not marked, so probably not, but maybe you'll have something to say still. Hey, Nectar. Ask about Nectar's adventures. Did I ever tell you about where I came from, Kupo?
You're not from the forest.
Oh, I'm from the forest, certainly, but which forest?
Well, which forest?
I can't tell you that. It's a secret, Kupo.
Then what were you going to tell me?
Nothing. I was just making sure I hadn't said anything I wasn't supposed to.
And if you had?
You don't want to know, Kupo. He'd have to kill me, obviously. And he'd probably succeed. He is the most powerful being in all of Valisthea. I'll have you know. Alright, well, I mean, we know we're done with those, so... I believe that we've also collected all of these.
How may I help you today, Clive? Come to claim your just desserts?
All right.
Come again.
All right.
I may have more for you.
All right, let's go and visit our room. We'll look at our plaques. We're going to get one more for Jill's thing, I think. But I think there's one more that we're missing. So I don't know what that one's going to be. It's possible that one of them is for doing all of the time trials. And since I'm not going to be doing that, we may not get all of those. I wonder if this has got to be a New Game Plus thing. It's got to be. Whole again. Clive, it occurs to me that a single word of thanks does not nearly suffice to express my gratitude for reuniting me with From a Distance. The tome made me who I am today, and yet I thought that I would never set eyes upon it again, that those who took it from me had forever robbed me of a part of myself. But now I am whole again, thanks to you. I regret that I can only fill in the gaps in your knowledge, and not the holes in your soul, for which reason I shall ever be in your debt, Vivian. So the only reason why I think there might be, one more side quest somewhere, is because the guy that we met during her quest basically said we'd see him again, so it feels like that story's incomplete. So there might be just a little bit more after this. Who knows, maybe we'll do Jill's thing and that will open up one last quest or something, I don't know. Let's see, did Vivian give us a final thing here? I think she did, so that implies that her side quest is done. So one of these is Jill's, and I don't know what the last one is. Joshua's, maybe? Something from Joshua? That would make sense. Alright. Well, at any rate, this is where we're going to end this episode, and in the next one, we're going to hopefully complete that Jill stuff. So, thank you all for being here. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next episode. Have a good one, everybody. I'd like to give a very special shout out to my patron supporters, Darren York, ZTD, Knife Namaste, Kyle the Monarch, Andrew Smith, Chris Murphy, JW, Quinless, Chris Smith, Vlado101, Andy Ford, Angel Mejia, Black Mamba 90, Eureka Gecko, A Happy Fat Panda, and Kyle Schluter. If you would also like to join this tier or any others, check out my memberships or my Patreon in the description down below.